It's a good time. We're playing the Pirates and the Cubs, I think, tonight. There's a team from Chicago and a team from Pittsburgh that we're playing tonight. We'll take it. We'll take it if that's the case. Yeah, tell me about that. I can see Chase in the wherever he is on the complex here, but I'm trying to get a visual. I see Darren's arm. So what if, because I've always wondered in all these years, I mean, how many years has it been since they've had an active, so in 10 years, what have they done to the place? Right, right. Oh, I heard it. Yeah.
But there are campers galore, people set up out there in the RV lots, and it's a sight to see. It is a welcome sight to see this again here in our market, and I can only imagine what it'll look like by the time the Cup race starts on Sunday.
Well, I'm sure the excitement is there being able to see the trucks out on the track, but I guess that can only mean one thing, Darren. You will not be able to take any practice laps on the track today.
Probably not.
No, if I did, I would get in big trouble. I would not be welcome Sunday. I can tell you that.
No.
Too many people around.
And quite honestly, I love my Dodge Durango with the Hemi and the V8, but I can't hang.
Oh, I bet that thing could book on the backstretch.
I know, but I can't hang with these trucks.
You do. The only thing I'd be worried about are the tires, but you could probably hit 120 and then have to back it down.
I'm sure I could hit
going
120.
into 3. But yeah, it's a welcome sight and sound to hear.
I can hear it.
Is like now it's kind of all setting in what I'm about to do this week.
Yeah.
But it's we did a little kind of a walkthrough yesterday, So Joe Williams.
I was going to say, Willie, you know who the first person I ran into at the track? Joe Williams.
Yep. Joe Williams, longtime voice of the Super Speedway, who I will be working with tonight.
Yep, good to see Joe. Been a long time.
Outstanding. Yeah, I'm sure he's looking forward to this. I mean, wow. You think about the history coming back, not only of this track, but also, like you guys said at the top of the show, first Cup race since '84. That's unbelievable. And I know a lot of people are really still bitter that they lost the rotation for so long in a town like Nashville that is always racing. But here we go. I mean, we got a new beginning now.
Over 35 years. So can you hear the trucks? Is it bleeding through?
It is. Just a little bit. It's not interrupting the broadcast, but you can hear it faintly in the background. I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, so just some people to point out in this race tonight. You'll have Josh Berry, who's going to be attempting to qualify. Josh Berry is a regular in the Xfinity Series, which when you guys were out here was known as the Busch Series or the Nationwide Series. Josh Berry is from Hendersonville, Tennessee, and he's done a really good job driving for Junior Motorsports on the Xfinity side. He got a win earlier this year in Martinsville, so he's the hometown boy, and will be piloting the number 25 Rackley Roofing Chevy tonight, and then the number 8 iRacing Chevy tomorrow in the Xfinity Series. He's not racing on Sunday, but got to see him make his Cup debut at Dover a few weeks ago, about a month ago. So he's somebody to watch because I think he's got a chance to win one of these 2 races tonight or tomorrow.
There's a kid, Chad Fincham. Is that right? He's
Fincham,
racing Xfinity and Cup. He is from Knoxville.
Yep. So he's a Knoxville guy. And then you got the 17, which is Ryan Priest, who's a Cup regular. Hunt Brothers is on that, of course, a Nashville company. So a lot of flavor from the area that'll be represented this weekend.
And don't say anything, Chase. I know you know the answer to this. Willie, do you know who is going to be waving the flag for the first Cup race in this market in 36 years on Sunday afternoon? Any idea who's going to be waving that flag?
I could give you a very sarcastic, fun answer.
Okay, let's do that. Let's start there.
Well,
apparently you can't.
I was thinking people like Eddie George, Jeff Fisher, like people. I feel like these guys have done that before.
Actually, you're not. I mean, you're on the right. You're on the right path.
Okay.
I mean, you're on the track.
And those were not really sarcastic.
You're not in the wall. You're on the track. We've had him on the show many times.
Mike Vrabel. Vrabel.
Once again, you're all over it. By the way, this guy.
We haven't had him on many times.
This guy played against Mike Vrabel.
Played against Mike Vrabel.
I will give you one hint.
Did he not? When he was in Kansas City, they played the Patriots. That Mike Vrabel was on that team.
He was a part of a very big play.
A very big play happened. It's not a good one, but it was a very big play.
So it's a former Patriot?
No, it's a former Chief.
Oh, okay.
And former Titan.
Chief.
And former Titan.
Former Chief, former Titan. He played against Vrabel.
Just think about some of the conversations we've had with him of late on this show.
Actually, I think he was teammates with Mike Vrabel then, because I think Vrabel was with the Chiefs.
Kansas City?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. So he's either played against Mike Vrabel or with Mike Vrabel.
Mm-hmm. Tom Brady's probably not sending him a Christmas card.
His initials are BP.
You still don't have this.
Okay. Bernard Pollard.
Bernard Pollard. Oh, why didn't I get? I should have gotten that. My fault. Because the whole Renaissance. He's last year talking about how he's gained interest in the sport.
Yeah, he was doing the iRacing.
Good call.
So Bernard Pollard will be waving the flag. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. He's doing a lot with Ally. And so he that's how he is why he is doing this. And he was a part of a deal with Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon where they both designed the 48 of Alex Bowman, the Ally car, and fans voted on which design they were going to go with. Dale Jr. won, obviously, as you would imagine. The neon, it's the Nashville neon look. So that's going to be cool. And also, the 99, the Trackhouse racing car, which is owned by Justin Marks, who lives in Nashville now, and Pitbull, Daniel Suarez, is going to be the Tootsie's car.
Yeah, I saw Daniel Suarez. I physically see him, but I saw that he was downtown with the Tootsie's car last night on Broadway. Barrett Sallee tweeting out there in the last hour, college football playoff will hold a teleconference today. It'll be at noon our time regarding, the future of college football playoffs. Wonder where that's going.
So they're going to be – so you say teleconference, meaning they're going to talk to each other, or that's like a press conference?
No, teleconference. I think it's to talk to each other. That is, remember,
hey, what are we going to do?
Well, they know what they're going to do. That's the start of, okay, everybody raise their hand in favor. Okay. Okay, it's passed. And then, remember, there has to be, who are we talking to? It has to be, was it Paul Feinbaum? He's got to be rubber stamped a couple more times, and then, it's going to happen. And so, speaking of that, it's a perfect segue to say on the other side, we'll talk to Scott Ramsey. And we'll get his reaction. What does this mean? Because it looks like all signs are pointing towards a 12-team college football playoff system. So we'll talk to Scott on the other side as you listen to Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Listen to us talk sports out of our app every
Daunic and Chase here on this gorgeous Friday morning here in Middle Tennessee. Darren McFarland and Chase McCabe alongside as we sit here live at the Nashville Superspeedway out here in Gladeville. Of course, the trucks are going around the track. Cup race on Sunday afternoon, first cup race in this area in 36 years. Willie Daunic is also with us today. He'll be heading to Indiana in just a bit. We are now joined, and I need to be more professional. I always call him the Big Cheese. He is, but I need to give a little bit more formal introduction. With the Nashville Sports Council, he's the president and CEO. He's Scott Ramsey. He now joins us on the program. Scott, how the heck are you?
I'm good, Darren. How are you? I've never really taken offense to the Big Cheese, but I've always tried to kind of maintain to be, somewhat more of a healthy Big Cheese during the COVID months.
That is a good point. You're right. Nobody should be really offended by calling a Big Cheese, but I like where you went with that. That's good. My son loves cheese. If I consumed as much cheese as him, he's 9. Well, I'll just leave it at that. I think we all know what that means. How's your summer going?
Yeah, it's good. We're actually on family vacation. I hate missing the cup race, but we've got 4 kids and a brand new little grandbaby that's 10 months old, and we had this planned for quite a while, and hate missing the race out there. I know Eric and everybody's worked hard on just pulling the super speedway back together, but unfortunately we had this one planned, so I'm gonna have to root from afar for everything to go well this weekend for them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll have fun with that. I know you guys will. So there's supposed to be a teleconference today at noon our time, Scott, and they're supposed to talk about the future of the college football playoffs. There's a lot of speculation out there that this thing is headed toward a 12-team college football playoff format. And if it passes, then I think it's got to get rubber stamped, as Paul Feinbaum told us a couple of days ago, rubber stamped a couple more times, and away they go. There's a lot of people writing about, what does this mean? How is this going to affect everything else? So who better than you to talk about it? Because I know you've obviously been privy to stuff. You've been talking to people. Is this a good thing for you? Does this concern you? Kind of where are you if this indeed is where college football is headed in a couple of years?
Well, as we talked today, Darren, I think it's a mixed bag of excitement and concern. And I say that today because we're not really sure of a lot of the specifics that would really play into how it's going to directly impact the Music City Bowl and where we've been going with our game. And hopefully we were headed toward, trying to get into that really elite package of cities and destinations for postseason college football. So, I think there's a lot of details still to kind of be ironed out and to be answered. And right now, I'm not aware of those being very definitive. And some of those are about timing. So, for example, when will this go into effect? There's rumors it could go in effect in 2 or 3 years. If that happens, we're still in the middle of a contract cycle with the SEC, the Big Ten, our new title sponsor, TransPerfect, ESPN, and all of our kind of plans have been built around this 6-year deal that we put together a couple of years ago, and we're in year 2 of that. And how will that impact us? Going forward over the next few years through team selection, matchups. TV time slots, just general interest from fans. I think the 12 team will even garner more of the focus on the teams, the players, and the fans, and everything. Then more so than even the 4 teams. So how will that impact? That's going to be a little bit of a guess, but I think we're going to have to factor that in. Or they could make a decision, which has been talked about, that hey, we've got too many contracts to undo here between, not only destinations and bowl games, but conferences and teams and financial payouts and TV contracts. We could wait to the end of the contract cycle, which that's the time where we had kind of aligned, and it looked like it was aligning for some of our Nissan Stadium renovations. And we were really going to try to kind of get into that national championship kind of discussion. And, the East Bank renovations will be undergoing. Certainly downtown growth. We've shown that we can host events better than anybody in the country. And certainly open air stadium has been, a little bit of holding us back in the middle of January for, Mid-South. So hopefully with the new stadium renovations and maybe moving it around the country, we could get in that conversation. But, so it's more the timing and alignment. Certainly our track was to kind of get into that national championship and semi and quarterfinals discussion with the current New Year's Six bowls. But, if that happens too soon before stadium's ready, how does that impact it? We just don't know yet.
You have a very good relationship with Greg Sankey. You talk to him a lot. He seemed to be the one pushing this thing to why we're having this discussion. I just want to know your initial reaction when this basically started getting out there, or at least when you heard it. I mean, you probably heard all this stuff well before us when it was out there for public consumption. But I've admitted, Scott, I thought, the next phase was 6 or 8, and somehow we've blown way past 6 and 8, and we've skipped some steps, and it's like straight to 12. And Greg Sankey seems to be the one, out up front, standing up and presenting that to the committee. Are you surprised that it seems like we've blown through some steps and we're talking about going from 4 to 12?
Well, I think when you just think about the numbers, Darren, you would certainly say, wow, that seems to be a big jump, especially for college football that has a collection of, independent conferences and teams trying to make a unified decision, which has always been what's taken a long time to make decisions. But on the other hand, you start thinking about, the difference between 6 and 8 and 12, has been documented. It opens up more opportunities for the power leagues like the SEC to have multiple teams in, 3, 4, maybe there's a year where they could get 5 in based on the rankings. And it also, solves the question for the group of 5 of, maybe 1, maybe 2 in, and, kind of opens up that process. Now, again, that adds a layer of questions from my standpoint of trying to see where Nashville fits in. Are they going to kind of dig in and play that throughout the entire month of December, 3 or 4 weeks in a row, which has always been a challenge in scheduling some of these games. So are you going to play, that first round on campus? Well, if so, boy, that's a tough job for the committee to start ranking, who's 8 and who's 9, who gets the home game and who doesn't, especially if you're talking about weather in December. Secondly, would those consider coming to neutral sites? And then lastly, if you go to the quarter and the semis, when are you going to play those? You're going to play those right before, right after Christmas? You're going to collect New Year's Day. So I think there's a lot of things, the numbers and what they propose. I guess I was a little surprised about how quickly that had come out, coming out of COVID, and let everybody kind of get their arms around a year of recovery and normalcy, and knowing we had 5 years left in deals that, are system wide. And, I was a little surprised on that. But again, I think it'll take them time to figure out all those details of scheduling, timing, process, locations, and hopefully we'll find a place for Nashville to continue to kind of play and move up in the process, which is certainly our goal.
Scott Ramsey is with us. We're trying to look on the horizon on this 12-team college football playoff proposal and what it means for Nashville. So, Scott, this was a question I think Ross Bjork asked on Paul Feinbaum's show, and that would be, if the first round is on home sites, which has been proposed, could the loser of those first games be eligible to play in a bowl game? And I would think the Music City Bowl might be in that mix. You were just trying to get a feel for the calendar, which we don't know, but that's an interesting question, because that would certainly affect who you could invite and what you think the market would be in a situation like that, a playoff team that goes down in the first round.
Yeah, that's a logistical question that's boy, you got to sit down and really put some pen to paper on, Willie, because here's why. So let's say there's two SEC teams that play and lose, or Big Ten, because we're SEC Big Ten. into that first round, and which is maybe second week of December.
Okay.
And do you hold up the entire bowl selection or assignment process, whichever way it's going to go, until mid-December, knowing that Texas A&M or Wisconsin or Penn State may be available to play? And if so, and they just played on the road, are there players and organization wanting to travel to Tampa, Nashville, Houston, Orlando or something like that to play another game, in 2 weeks? Because I think also one of the things I think it's interesting timing here is the NIL legislation.
Right.
So once you start getting into 15, 16, 17 games, we've already seen players and even teams last year opt out of going to the postseason. I referenced the Florida situation. They were playing Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. And, I don't know how many starters. You guys probably know that exact number. But, I mean, I'm thinking multiple starters just kind of said no thanks. Now, that could have been COVID, fatigue from going through the year. But you feel like that's more of a trend going. So are they going to want to play and lose in the playoffs and then come to a bowl game? And will fans have interest to make it a worthwhile tourism investment for a city like Nashville? It may not. I think it's just going to have to take a lot more discussion and thought as we move through the process.
Really interesting thoughts. And, on the other hand, if this is not an option, the losing team of the first round, who otherwise maybe doesn't get a bowl game, right? They made the playoffs, but they actually don't get a trip, that kind of thing. They played either a home or a road game. Are there enough teams left over to fill out? I think you guys are certainly high enough on the chain that you would have teams, but it would certainly affect the matchups, wouldn't it? Now with 12 instead of 4.
I think the intangible question, Willie, too, is it will you be able to maintain the interest in the trip to Nashville? I mean, a Wisconsin-Auburn game this year would be, one thing. Wisconsin-Auburn, if they just were ranked 14th, 15th, and just missed the top 12 in a playoff game, will that continue to wane? And will fans kind of then have more apt? I mean, hey, we've made no bones about it. We started this game to really build the business and the excitement between Christmas and New Year's when we built the stadium 25 years ago. The bowl game has been a huge, business and economic, catalyst for building that week. Certainly we have the New Year's Eve concert now and general tourism, but the bowl has brought, significant amount of people, revenue, and exposure to the city during what used to be a dead time. So I think we go back to our core mission of, hey, we want to bring people to the city, fill up the stadium, and, put as many eyeballs as our city as possible. So will we be able to maintain that and raise the necessary revenue to kind of work out the financial deal with the conferences, which could change as well. So I think there's a lot of things that kind of really, sit back and really kind of put some thought to on our ability to maintain a high profile and growing event rather than a stagnant event. And if so, then how do we do that effectively? I'm not sure yet until we know some more details.
And I'm sure Greg Sankey has to be thinking about all those things as he moves forward with this, if he's on board, which he seems like he is. One more for you, Scott, before I pass it to Chase. You were talking earlier about you've already had the vision of wanting to upgrade to a point where you get in the mix for a big game, a playoff game. And we were thinking out loud, we had this discussion, just batting it around. It's one of the ideas we had to call you and just see what you thought is, with quarterfinal